I demand over you, girl. I demand over you, girl. Say you are my woman, eh. 30 billion for the account, yo. Yeah, Versace and
Johnny Mo. Do you know Johnny? Question. If I know see my
Joanna, hey Joanna, hey Joanna, Joanna, ay ay ay.
Baby, pana, anywhere that you go, I can follow you to go. Baby, pana, I say like.
Brother, fall on you, cause I'm in love with you. Money for on the low, on the low, on the low.
What a way to start a presentation. I know people were in their offices back at home jamming, dancing. I know I certainly was. And if I was not awake then, I definitely am now. So honored to be having you on screen and having this virtual discussion with you. Welcome. How are you today?
Fine, thank you very much, Rutendo. Like I said, I enjoyed all of the speakers, learning so many perspectives, and here to share mine as well and glean from you and the audience. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. So, first things first, you list your cultural insights as Afrobeats, and for example, Afro-funk and Afro-pop. Can you briefly set the scene for us about these musical genres?
Yeah, if you look at the evolution of Afrobeats in the past, 10 years, you see that it not just represents music, in terms of the future of sound, but also about lifestyle. It's integrated into every fabric of society and all of the things we do. It inspires the youths in terms of not just enjoying the music, the dance, the rhythm, but also it's inspiring different product development across genres, across sectors. And I think for marketers and those that advise brands, strategies, insiders, designers, we now need to look at what is the next frontier for music, for sound, and while we'll enjoy all of the pop cultural moments, can we also use it to redefine sectors, businesses, areas of worries for consumers? And that's what I would love to share perspectives here today.
Mm. And can you tell me, how do you get all of these insights? Where do you draw inspiration from? What is your process to finding out these kinds of data?
Okay, I'll share a couple of slides in terms of how I'm thinking. But firstly, I think because my evolution has been from advertising, um, so from advertising and seeing the evolution, I felt advertising in itself was limiting in terms of how it drove about not just communication, but also inspiring, people to do different things. So my journey has traversed from media. Actually, started writing to media planning, then to advertising, and I've done advertising for about 15 years. But in working with clients and understand their day-to-day worries, in tapping onto market, consumer, and business trends, I see that we could also create solutions that go beyond communications and back and forth, in terms of messaging and product sales and all of that thing. So I embraced understanding youth lifestyle and pop cultural trends because everything that defines us is pop culture. When things you see things in business happening in business, in automotive, in travel, every other thing, it actually starts with pop culture. So why not look at it in terms of looking from an integration perspective rather than a linear communication access? And that's what I've tried to do. That's where the evolution has come through. And we've been working with clients to not just embrace the methodology, but also apply them day to day.
Thank you so much for those insights, Franklin. And so, can you describe some of the challenges and opportunities of incorporating these cultural assets into brand strategies? And do you have any examples that you can share with us?
Yes, very much so. A lot of challenges we face is advertising is almost like you have a predestined solution. Whether you like it or not, you have an outcome that you're going to work towards you. And that outcome is communication. Whether it's on TV, whether it's on radio, whether it's on social media, you have a predestined solution. But sometimes the issues arise maybe from a business perspective. Sometimes it could be from a product development perspective. So you're already boxed in a triangle in terms of working when you're doing, marketing communications. You're already boxed into a linear integration. What I propose is what I call lifestyle integration. And it starts first with humans, starts off with us, you people, you and I, understanding the psychographics, understanding behavior, understanding attitude. So rather than me trying to sell you a product, why not first of all understand you as self and understand your lifestyle? We talk about it in terms of imputing consumer insights in our research, in our strategy development, but it goes from strategy to media to production to experiences to activation. It's very linear. We need something that not just goes linear but also traverses 360, which is where lifestyle integration come true. So the evolution of linear integration to lifestyle integration, which embraces a 360 perspective of what the product is, the storytelling, which is of course we do that in communication, but also starting off from trends, understanding it from three dimensions: cultural trends, consumer trends, market trends, and looking at where we gain insights to influence the consumers in terms of the kind of service, the kind of experiences we do, and then again a two-pronged communication answers. And sometimes, like I said, it might just be not just about communication, but also about commerce. It might be about consumerism. It might be about cooperation. It might be co-creating the product, and then distribution and other elements come in. So what it means is we could advertise, we could communicate, but we could also create new products, new services, new experience, new activations that we don't even know until we are in the design process. And I think that's where the whole integration process comes from. And again, that's what we're embracing. And I think that is what is happening now. So we've been inspired by what's happening in Afrobeat music, not just as a music genre, but looking at in terms of how they've also factored this into play. And if you take a key example like Wizkid, for example, which is a well-known name in Africa and Europe, you can see that Wizkid has gone from being, representing pop culture to being pop of culture. Whiskey is now pop of culture. So if you look at it from from music, sound experiences, he's also had platforms. He's represented luxury brands. He has his own clothing line. He's been brand ambassador for telcos and drinks perspective. So you can see he has a 360 perspective. But sound is that singular thing that has brought this about. But every other thing is inspired by that music. Why don't we adopt that in communication, in having, if we use this, whether it's for fashion, music, sound, having adopted, what is the nucleus of this thing that will inspire people, and how do we adopt it and create a lifestyle integration rather than a linear process of solutioning? And that's what I call lifestyle integration. And I think that's where the integration comes into play.
Wow, I really appreciate the way that you're talking about the integration. It's almost, taking the music, finding the inspiration, finding the lifestyle aspect, finding the almost commerce aspects of it, and all bringing it together. Franklin, before we continue with you, I want us to cut to a music video case study, and then I've got some more questions for you
Great.
afterwards.
Thank you.
Hi, and welcome back. We are here with Franklin, who is going to provide some insights into the video we just saw. So, Franklin, how do you see that video differently? How do you analyze it as opposed to the ordinary person who might just see it for entertainment and enjoyment?
Okay. So you see, when you see the video, first thing that comes in, it's a movie, it's a film, and you try and see it from a perspective of entertainment. But I look at it from a different perspective. Now, if you look at what I have here in terms of perspective, I see what everyone wants to do, which is at the nucleus of everything surrounding the different regions in Africa that I try to do some research. Everyone at the heart wants to be a star. Everybody is about inspiration. Everything is about aspiration, and it's about how can I have capability to go from point A to point B. Now, when you see that movie, what you see there is action, a bloody mess, anti-heroes, and people trying to go beyond all odds. Now, against all odds, beyond all odds is one of the one of the biggest frictions we find in business, in consumerism, in Africa. We always have to go beyond, travel across a friction or straddle something to make a success out of it. And what I see there is why platforms that represent anything about you being a star is the biggest thing. It's about, whether from a rating perspective, you have 5 stars, or from the fact that you want to, win a talent hunt or a contest and you become the star. That I see as a common thread weaving through a lot of these regions. But I look at it in terms of more from the process of inspiration, from inspiration to aspiration, from a perspective of from Africa to the world. So I call it from Afrofuturism. How to look at it from those things we saw, from the sound that introduces Idris Elba as he makes that walk through the train. That's symbolic. It's not just an actor struggling through what is going on or the mayhem behind him. It's a symbol. It's a thing. So if you look at it from an iconic perspective, that means we're moving from not just a universe of capabilities, but also to a metaverse of different opportunities. So I look at sound differently, embracing what I call a metaverse of ideas, of inspiration, of capabilities, of being able to move from one sphere to another. And that's how I look at it in terms of analyzing the icon stardom. So that language, that was Fela's one of Fela's music soundtracks that amplifies that walkthrough. That walk, that few seconds walk to me inspires walk to greatness. Inspires. I don't want to just be a representative of the universe, but I also want to own my own metaverse. How do I, which brand, individual, or platform will create these capabilities for me to grow from here to here? And I think that's what brands can tap into, not just enjoying the sound as a track that amplifies the music, but trying to understand the icons and the codes and the signal that makes that thing shine better than it could be. And that's what we're trying to represent it from.
Wow, wow. So you really do get in it. You're talking about the codes and the signals. And at the end of the day, you're asking, what does this mean? It's not just placed there by accident. It's not like someone just, chose any music. You're saying, why was this chosen? What is the reason behind that? And that is so incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And a final question for you, Franklin, is can you share with us some of the regional peculiarities and local distinctiveness of these musical styles across different regions?
Yeah. Well, when you say Afrobeats, Afro pop, Afro fusion, and so on, it was an evolution from Afrobeats as we knew it in the 60s and 70s, but now it's representative of me being given access, unlimitedness to do great things, to have fun, unlimited, to neglect my troubles, to be in a space where I just see positivity and no longer about things that are happening around me. And the common trend again we see is we've always talked about Africans being, they love to aspire, they want to aspire to greatness and everything. But the common thing they're looking for is, capability. Which are the brands that will afford me those platforms, those experiences? So when I look at it, I look at metaphor, which I said is the 5 star, the 5 star imprint as one of the examples that represents what I call, taking from the past and moving to the future. If you wanted to bring it to a trend, you'll probably call it, maybe nostalgia. That's nostalgia. That means taking from the old, but using it as a springboard to jump into the future. So the style does not just represent something that I want to attain anymore. It's actually my universe, and I want to see how I can bring forth, I can give back to other stars beyond. So I'm no longer just aspiring. I want to be inspired. I also want to create my own stardom. I also want to create my success. And I think that's one common trend across Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana. And I think what brands need to do now is how do we not just inspire and make people love brands, communication, advertising? How do we now creating platform and experience that weave them in and also create springboard for them to also birth different stars? And I think that's the beautiful thing, which is why I said lifestyle integration is very key rather than a linear progression of communication, of advertising, of messaging, and weave them and make them co-creators of new products, new experiences, and new affairs that we can all be part of. That makes the brand have more empathy and can create a more, what I call a more humankind access rather than linear. And I think that's where the world is going. And I think we need to be on the frontier of that evolution and drive.
Thank you so much for these insights, Franklin. And it is going to be really interesting to see how much more brands do when they are looking at these points of integration that you've spoken about. How do we, make use of Afrobeats? How do we have these conversations? How do we interpret, music, not just for what it is, but for what it is actually saying? So thank you for these insights that you've shared with us today.
Thank you.
Franklin, because I had the Q&A with you,
Yes.
absolute pleasure. Because I had the Q&A with you, I am. If anyone does have any questions for Franklin, we're not going to be taking questions live right now, but please do ask your Q&A box, and we will definitely pass them on to him and definitely have him answer those for you. But in the meantime, just before we cross over to our next speaker, please do put in the chat, let Franklin know what you thought about his speech, his presentation. What were the things that you took out? What were the insights that he shared with us today that you definitely are going to make use of or utilize for this year and for years to come, I guess?